The postseason content keeps rolling in here on the Blacktown Premier League podcast. My name is Mark DePoli, joined by the man on his 20th, on the verge of his 20th year, who's just become another captain, who's won a championship. His centre-back partner in Jake Taylor, the goalkeeper behind him, Matt Dudgeon, and the man who's got their last two player of the matches in both of those grand finals, Ethan Eichen. We're going to unpack the entire grand final with 17 different moments throughout the 90 minutes that we're going to talk about in a pretty conversational way. Boys, thanks for joining me. Now let's explain just quickly what we're going to do to the audience while they're here. So like I said, I've clipped up moments and we've got a group chat and we're all going to watch them together. Through the power of editing, you're going to watch it along at the same time as us. A reminder, if you want to keep the post-season content coming into next week and beyond, you have to keep hitting that like button. We've got 39 so far on last week's grading, so keep that going, please, and thank you in advance. Should we get started? I think we should. Jayden, just before we go into any footage, you're now the man who is captain. You've worn the armband throughout these last two, in 22 and 24. Sort of on behalf of the boys, how are you feeling at the moment? What was the moment like? And you know, it's been a week and a bit since. Try and unpack all those emotions for me.
Yeah, look, I'm just really proud of this playing group. Meant a lot to win another one with these boys. We just want to thank everyone for their support during the year. Our crowd on grand final day and throughout the whole year was great, so thank you to everyone for supporting us.
Brilliantly said. Now, like I said, we have 17 clips to go through. You're now going to watch it along at the same time as us, and then I'll start asking the important questions.
Shut up. That's our centre
Just like that, it's 1-0. Wow.
The first moment we're going to go through is the opening goal of the game, so there's no better person to talk about it with than Ethan Eichen himself. I'll get you to grab the mic, my friend. Now, I've got a couple of questions to ask about the goal, but let's start right where it begins. When that ball is fortuitously headed to you, and it's bouncing towards the goal, and you're running onto it, what are you thinking in that moment before the first touch?
First touch, I was like, geez, this ball has come out of nowhere. I was not expecting it at all. I think Jayden didn't expect it either. It looked like a big shank from him. Looked like it was supposed to go to Marcus and then, just come off Scotty Jackson's head and just fell into my plate.
So you have one touch off the chest. Talk me through what you remember sort of as you're running down. Obviously, you take a look up a couple of times before taking the touch. So run me through everything up to the point where you do finally actually have the shot.
Pretty much my first touch was, to try and control it, get it down to my feet early. A few glances up to see if Victor's coming across to me or where Aiden's standing, where his positioning is, and just had a look, and he left a massive gap in the side of where I shot, so I just took my chance early, and lucky enough he didn't dive or anything. So
with Victor there and with Matty Hubbard there, you're right in the middle of them, almost directly in the middle, sort of equidistant between the two. Is that somewhere where you normally stand when sort of the ball's up in the air like that, or was it literally just a stroke of luck, would you have to say?
I think it was a stroke of luck, but also we like to, if we are playing long, there's definitely one of the strikers contest the ball, and always, I've been told since young, always gamble, and today it paid off.
If we go back to the start of the clip, Jake, you're actually sort of almost taken out in the moment by Fardod. He puts a little push on you as the ball's coming out of the sky. No one really sees it, but the ball actually sort of comes off the outside of your right leg and falls to Jayden, who just sort of lumps it forward, and whatever happens from there is history, right? So when you're watching all that happen in the space of less than 10 seconds, are you happy the foul wasn't called up?
Yeah, it was a good wrestle match with him all match, but I was just happy to keep winning them every single time and just get my leg in, and then I look up, the ball's been shanked and Ethan scored, so it's great. I was celebrating after I was wiping all the black petals off me. It's awesome.
That's the score.
It's horrible.
These guys haven't seen the clip beforehand, so I'm going to include, as you're watching the clip yourselves, their sort of initial reactions to it. Hopefully they keep it PG throughout. But some of these moments are funny to watch back. Look, Jordan Hannon has this chance on 11.5 minutes to double it. Jayden, you're usually next to him in defence. So when he trudges back to right back, did you say anything to him in particular? Was there any words of encouragement or the opposite perhaps?
Nah, mate, just a shake of the head. I think he knows he should have done better there, but that's a right fullback's finish, I guess.
The ball coming in, that's one to hit, but it's falling in towards Eichen! That's on to hit, but it's fallen hit towards
He was ripping Geordie for those corners.
Yeah, so Jules on the mic was pretty unhappy with how those first two in the sequence of three had been hit. Ethan Eichen, there's something about that corner flag right there against Pwns in grand finals that has now brought about some pretty good fortune for you. So explain to me, there's a mix of Scotty and Victor Levy there and a stray shot that ends up falling back to you. So can you sort of explain, because we're sort of cut off on the camera up there, can you explain what happens between you having that first shot and then you burying it on the second shot?
Yeah, well, like Jules said, we couldn't hear Jules obviously, but yeah, the first couple of corners definitely went near post, so I just gambled on it. Like I thought I'd connect it with my left foot, but it spun off and like just landed there. I had a quick glance up to see where the defence was and like the line, and I toe poked it. Like I definitely meant it to go up high, didn't mean it to go that high, but yeah, it just worked out well for the boys.
Judge, just like in the grand final podcast, you've been a bit quiet in the first little bit, so I do want to get you answering some questions straight away. Your time will come. There's plenty of bits involving you as this game does progress. But I do want to ask you, at 2-0 up, I spoke to you about keeping focus and what their biggest, Pond's biggest threats were going forward. You spoke really well on that. You obviously identified that pretty great. At 2-0 up, what's going through your head there? Because you're a confident guy. We know that Doon side's got this record of 3 years now where they haven't lost when they've gone up by a goal. So what are you thinking at 2-0 up down the other end, unchallenged by that point?
I think the first thing going through my head is definitely what Jaden says, like, when we score first, we don't lose. And it's hard to not get wrapped up in that moment. You're 2-0 up, your fans are going ballistic, and you're just on so much adrenaline, you don't feel like you come down, but you got to remember, we had 80 minutes to play from there on, so it's tough to not get carried away, but, when you're 2-0 up and it's going in like that, it's hard not to.
Jay, talk to me about having, especially in that first half, those fans sort of down to my left and your right. In that first half, they were going off their mind. A lot of them had just been in a reserve grade grand final, so they're G'd up. Was that good to keep you guys, your energy levels high?
Oh, absolutely. There was fire in my belly every time. We would just win a tackle and they're up going, yeah, it's just the best. We do it for them in 21s and Rezzies, and they perform for us at the final stage. It's brilliant.
Celebration. Talk me through it. How long in advance were you planning that?
I had it in my back pocket for Halloween the year before. I went as Spider-Man, and it was just sitting in my cupboard. And I'm a guy for the show. I love a show. And yeah, just thought, I've danced in the last one. What can I do now? And yeah, just the Spider-Man mask came to mind.
I think Jamison was the one who handed it to you. Obviously, Jamison Himwood, the former junior keeper, who obviously comes and watches more games than probably most do. You then proceed to throw it back right at him without even looking. Was he upset by that?
No, by the clip when I watched it back, he was just absolutely laughing his head off. I think he was more enjoying the moment more than I was. But no, it was good to get a laugh out of the boys.
Now just watch it one more time.
Hits me square in the back.
So 31 minutes into the game, Sammy 𝙁𝙁 takes a shot. Now, you guys obviously watched that back as a big group, I'm sure. But now that we're watching it with sort of real sort of eagle eye on that moment, 31 minutes into the game, you're 2-0 up. A long time left to go in the first half, let alone the second even starting. So Jake, where does that hit, mate? What did it feel like when it came off you?
Well, I hugged myself and turned me back, and I just thought it hit me in the back. I didn't even hear anyone sort of contest for a handball at the time, not even the crowd or any of their players. So it was funny watching the clip back and he's talking about the handball for the next half an hour. Jeez, I didn't realise it was that bad.
I was going to ask you what your view was as well, Dad. What did you see from behind the play?
Very, very similar to Jake. I think maybe one or two people went up, but I mean, it's a metre out. He's turned his body. I don't think his arm was hanging out. So, even after the fact, I think I can still say it. I don't think that was a penalty.
At what point will it get better, though? Here is ๊𝙁𝙁𝙀𝙀. He's someone who can do it all on his own. He's got a player in his way, though. It might fall kindly to Fardon Sandracarni on the follow-up.
What a moment.
37 minutes now, so that's 8 minutes after that potential handball. Pwns have clearly started to work themselves back into the game. in saying that chance comes from a little deflection. So talk to me. That comes off Jordan Hannon, who's for some reason doing I don't know why he's there. But look, it comes very close to you. So how close were you to actually getting that away initially?
To be honest, at first I appealed for the offside because I thought he was offside, and then when the flag didn't go up, I was just like, God, I got to get to the line here and back dudge. And thankfully the big fella, he did what he always does and saved us. And not gonna lie, at that moment I was pretty confident that we could go on with it. That I think grand finals are won in moments, and that was a huge moment.
It was a big moment. So let's talk about it now. The difficulty for you, Dudge, is it's the ball's coming across the face. 𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁, you don't know where he is probably till halfway. It's coming across your 6-yard box. So talk to me about how you track both the ball and striker, and just how you got that positioning so perfect.
I think watching it back, 𝙁𝙁𝙁's probably not on his toes, probably not expecting it anyway. So it's kind of just meeting 𝙁𝙁𝙁 and the ball in the middle and just trying to smother down his whole option, I guess. Close down the option so he can't chip it. Like a player like him, he scores 30 goals a year. He's going to know a way to score there, and it was just about getting out there early and shutting it down. But, yeah.
A good time in the game for you guys because you're 2-0 up, but obviously 2-0 is a pretty dangerous scoreline for us. I talked about that cliche. And it almost did prove to be that when they did get a goal back, but we'll talk about that in a second. Sorry if you haven't seen it and I've spoiled it for you. Had that have gone in, could have been a different story, of course, but you've just talked about the momentum sort of boost that it gave you. Could you feel in that moment, as a captain, could you feel Pwns, and Jake, if you want to jump into this as well, could you feel that Pwns was sort of coming back into the game, starting to improve into the game? Did it feel like that around sort of that chance there?
I don't really think it felt like that. I think it was still a bit nervy because we scored so early. But yeah, I just think we had to weather the storm that was coming in the first half an hour even of that game. And obviously we did do the job, but at the time you're just thinking next job, and thankfully we did that.
That's gone real high. Lebby is there! Lebby scored! Well, he's just
Got to be that OG.
We scored all three, didn't we?
OG.
All right. Well, that's something I haven't heard yet. So let's talk about Pwns' one and only goal. Was it actually no goal? Who did it come off?
I'll say.
Go for it.
Yeah, it came off me, but honestly, he headed the ball and I was coming across in cover, and by the time it was at me, I had no idea, and it just hit the back of my head and obviously went in. I don't know if it was on target or not.
Nah, I reckon it was going wide or to Couchy on our post.
Yeah, well, Couchy said to me, he said if I didn't touch it, it was coming straight at me. So, but like I said, I knew nothing about it. So.
The Pwns still haven't scored to us in the grand final.
Always tricky. Okay, so this is sort of a general question just throwing out there. Did anybody take it upon themselves in that moment? Like, obviously half the crowd erupts, momentum has just shifted, well, could have just shifted in Pwns' favour. Did anybody take it upon themselves to sort of say anything in like a huddle? Was there a coming together at all? Did anyone sort of take the reins in that moment there?
Nah, not really take the reins. We all just knew that like when they scored, so like we got to kick it up a gear again. The same thing happened against Marion when we started real slow, and it's all about just like keeping our heads like we're doing what we're doing, and like we got us places, so just keep doing that, and it's just all about just keep moving forward.
Jake, 2 goals up in the first half of the semi-final, 2 goals up in the first half of the grand final. Marion going to beat 4-1 Pwns. That scoreline remains when they get their one back. So what was the difference that we saw? This is sort of a general comment on the whole game, comparing. Was there a difference between how Pwns getting their 1 goal back felt compared to Marion? Did you feel like you were in more control of one of those games compared to the other?
Yeah, I think we were well in control of the Marion game, and they were very down, I should say. They didn't have much confidence in them, and we just kept giving it to them. With this Pwns game, they had a lot more to fight for in that second half. They were giving it everything, and we sort of just tucked in our shell and let them absolutely just demolish us in that second half, and luckily we held on.
Here comes the typical skirt, though, and it's over one. Is that going to go in? No.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the mics picked up some of those gasps there, but that certainly looked close from the angle that we had up in the commentary box. Dudge, I'll go back to you again, if you could just chuck that over, sorry. When you watch this game back in a highlights package like this, Pwns really did have more chances than probably we're given credit for. That chance came from a glancing header. So tell me what happens there. Does it actually come off somebody and change its direction? What sort of happens?
The wind was brutal in the second half. Like, we didn't expect it when we were playing the first half because we had it behind us, but it still didn't feel that bad. But in that second half, it just picked up, and those throw-ins just smashed us all night. And when he put them up high, they were going everywhere. Like, someone had a header up for one, they're gone, and then that one went all the way through. I think it didn't actually touch anyone, so the refs had to figure out what to call it. Watching it again, that's...
Misses
Didn't
everyone.
touch anyone.
I
missed it.
Corner.
They missed it.
It was given again as another corner. I think I don't have the clip going on there any further, but I think they did get a corner off of it. If it had gone all the way in off the throw, it probably wouldn't have counted then.
Yeah.
Jake, you were just mentioning things about high balls out of the air there. Anything to add on regarding the wind?
I feel like I did everything, didn't I, Jane? You said that to me afterwards. Said you had a day off, which is unusual. Usually I'm having a day off. And Aiden can absolutely launch a ball up in the air too. So it was tough dealing with that. And they're a very physical side, but the wind definitely was a factor. Trying to judge all those throw-ins as well.
There was a moment in the game against Maroon where you knocked your head pretty damn hard. Was there any fear going into this one, or are you just not built that way at all?
Nah, not really. Obviously, it is a worry in the moment that it happens, but going into this one, I was on the back burner. I wasn't even thinking about it. So
No surprises.
To 𝙂𝙗𝙀, what a ball that is. Might just hang up Paulie. Where might that ball to? I think it's going wide.
So the concern is not how close the ball gets to the goal. The concern in that one is who hit who, and what should the decision, if any, have been. Now, we're not afraid to talk about things that are contentious because that's what brings you guys to watch along. So we will talk about that. Now, originally we, as in myself and Julian, did think it was a penalty. We watched it back on his computer and my phone. We then sort of said it wasn't. But in saying that, watching it back today when I was preparing for this, you are doing what you did for the first goal, which is you're angling yourself to read Hub's header into the nowhere, and you're trying to track into that area.
Yeah.
So if that run then is impeded, because you don't compete for the ball really, if you're then impeded on that run, maybe there's a case. So talk me through. Am I saying it wrong here? Is that what you tried to do?
Oh, yeah, like it happened a few times. They misjudged their headers back, and I just try to jump onto it, get there as quick as possible. But yeah, I don't know. It was in the moment. I wasn't appealing for the penalty at all. I just try to get my body in the middle, try and at least get a touch onto it, then maybe claim a penalty. But I didn't get a touch on it, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, I think Hubs gets the pivotal touch, and obviously Aiden does come through you to get there. But competing for the ball, I think it might be contentious. We don't really think it is. I think we've all kind of agreed it probably wasn't a penalty, and that's what we agreed on the night as well. So there you go.
Similar to last time, 𝙂𝙗𝙀 was there, should have had a hat-trick.
Got that.
Right, Icon. So again, the game's still at 2-1. Sorry, Ethan. Force us to have it.
That's good.
How much of that ball was you? Did it come off someone? That header. Was that all your trajectory?
Yeah, that was. I hit it into the back of Victor. I definitely got the leap on him. Like the same as 2022, I got the leap on him, and but yeah, no, I got to it pretty clearly. I knew it was coming to me as soon as it left Geordie's foot, and just wasn't high enough. Just Victor just got there, and unfortunately didn't go in.
Here comes the Roadrunner. Away he goes. Sweet Anne tried to slow him down. Upended by Hubbard.
There are so many things to unpack from this one. I think I'll ask you all the questions. So first of all, the ball gets cleared from a corner, which is great, and then Kyle, who we all know can only run in straight lines, starts running in a slightly curved line. Judge, did you see 𝙂𝙀 go for him, even slightly? Well, obviously, 𝙂𝙀's a bit notorious in the best kind of way. You didn't necessarily launch that counter-attack, but you were good from crosses all night. So when you see Kyle going off, is that something he does in training where just no one catches up to him?
Yeah, it is something he does in training every week. everyone will be screaming for the ball at the start of the season. I think by the end of the season, we just let Kyle do his thing. I think some people might have smiled when he got smashed because he's usually doing the one smashing everyone else. I've never seen him get flipped like that. He's okay, so we can laugh about it. But yeah, it was always going to be a professional foul. It was just a matter of who got to him first.
Now, the only person I'm going to ask about Ibby trying to do a professional foul is you, because obviously, if someone sends me the clip, I'll include it again. A couple of years ago in the...
I've got the clip, mate.
We'll put the airdrop on after this. But there's a moment a couple of years ago in the grand final automatic qualifier where Ibby trips you while you guys are looking to equalise in a 2-1 as well. In that moment, you're seeing Kyle burn past him. What are you thinking when you see him get past?
Well, to be honest, I saw Ibby coming and I was like, yeah, mate, leave one on him like you did on me. No, but I did think someone was going to bring him down. But yeah, I think someone might want to do a welfare check on Hubs because that is probably still hurting.
Just like Jake, I'll get you to jump in here because I think in terms of I say you're probably the more aggressor when it comes into big fat slide tackles from centre back, right? So the way Hubs kind of upends him there, like. Can you sort of, like, if you just watch it back again, like, how does he actually like do that?
I think he just sort of gets his hip into him.
It's all mental.
Just gets him.
Yeah, his backside.
Yeah. He just
like a rim.
Wanted to be a brick wall and just absolutely stop him in his tracks, which he did, to be fair. 20 years experience there.
Yeah, he did. He certainly did. Now, also, Quock, the camera doesn't really show it until after the fact, but Alex Quock is coming into the centre. Yeah. So maybe just a sort of analysis of the moment. It's 76 minutes in. If Kyle darts inside, he's probably got to contest with Quock, who is tracking back and he's quite quick. So is there anything that he could have done differently there, or him winning that yellow card off of their best centre back? Was that the smartest thing to do in that moment, or could the game have been a 2-goal cushion restored? What do you reckon? That's a big moment.
Oh, you got anything to say about that?
Yeah. I think Ibby actually does well cutting Kyle's angle off, so he can't come inside earlier, and I think by the time he gets past Ibby, it's probably too late to come inside without losing the ball, so gets Hubs a yellow card and we go from there.
Anything to add?
I was sitting on the bench at this time already, but as soon as I seen Kyle dart off and I seen Ibby make that run, I knew he was going to try something. It's just how he plays. But once he missed Kyle, I gave out a little cheer, I knew you weren't going to do anything. But yeah, I don't. In an attacker's point of view, I don't think Kyle could have done much more. As Jaden said, Ibby closed the angle and he couldn't really come back across.
Well done, Kyle.
𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀, brilliant. He's in here.
Oh, Dutton's so strong.
Big Dutch.
Judge, big moment in there, up against 𝙂𝙀𝙀𝙀. I think we'll just watch it back on my
Did Jordy
left.
push him in the Dutch?
Don't say that.
Not really.
There's a question being asked: did Geordie have a little nudge on 𝙂𝙀𝙀𝙀? That moment there, where did he land on you, Dutch?
I think he's gone to head the ball and he's headed me right here. I'm still purple in the bicep. 10 days on, I couldn't believe. I've never had a bruise there before, and he's just absolutely smashed me. It was going down for a penalty. I think it was more of just a claim. It's late in the game. He's looking for something, but I think he's just felt every part of me in his forehead there.
HIA.
And I think if we were in league, he'd be having 15 minutes on the sideline.
Brilliant.
Still got running in his boots, should foul him, hasn't been able to, advantage will be played. Chance.
I mean, that's really the moment there. So what I'm focusing in on here is Jordan Hannon and Taylor Hunter. So, in my personal opinion, with 11 minutes to go, Geordie's on a yellow card. This is what's important. Geordie's on a yellow card. That's the context. Taylor's outside the box. If he was inside the box and goes down, it's probably a penalty and no second yellow card. If he goes down outside the box, it probably could have been a second yellow card for Geordie. Different end to the game. Even just naturally, you might put players behind the ball, but again, just a chance for Pwns to sort of build into the game as they always tend to do. So, honestly, I honestly thought Taylor should have gone down there and tried to win the second yellow. Still a lot of time left into the game. When you were watching that, for example, are you like heart and mouth?
Well, I'm just thinking that's just a classic Geordie foul. That's just what he does week in, week out. And I don't feel like you're thinking much at that like point of the game. Like when it gets down to the last 10, you're asking the ref how long's left, and he says 8 minutes, and then the next time you ask him 5 minutes later, he says 7 minutes. So it's just he could have gone down, but I think he's probably not thinking the same either.
If it is a professional diver, would you have gone down in that moment?
I think I wouldn't have been able to stand on my feet, to be honest. I think Hunter's too honest of a man. He wouldn't have gone down, and like as he stood up and took the challenge. But yeah, I think after that kind of shot, I don't think I would have been able to stand up.
I will say too, I don't know if Taylor feels the same being their skipper, but the way Anthony reffed the game, I don't think he would have given a yellow in that situation. I actually think Anthony did a really good job refereeing, so yeah, I think that probably plays a part too, but yeah, I'd love to know Taylor's thoughts anyway.
Well, I know Anthony watches these podcasts, so there you go, there's one brownie point. Doonside heading into 2025.
Back heel, lovely. Eyes in the back of the head. Howard to try and seal the grand final. Moving on that tip! Oh my word! The follow.
And then Frankie
Let's start with Franklin's. Well, actually, no. We'll start where we should start. Is there a reason why Maury decides to try and rip a hole in space and time? Why didn't he just place it? Have you spoken to him about this?
No, I haven't. I actually don't think he tried to leather it, to be honest. I think it just happened.
Yeah.
I actually thought he did really well to put it where he did, and I actually thought it was in on halfway.
Yeah, so
But yeah, the Frankie bicycle.
If it's a good clearance, to be fair. Pwns invoice incoming. If you watch it back, it's like he finishes with his right foot across his left, like he's sort of awkwardly off balance. But yeah, he really does smack the absolute underside of the crossbar there. Like for example, on the sideline, what was the reaction happening in the technical area when that happens?
We were up in arms because we actually thought it went in. Like we were like, oh, he's hit it here, it's gone in top corner. But then it hit the crossbar, and it was like head in hands kind of moment. And but yeah, everyone just started giggling about Frankie's bicycle kick. I don't think you can go past that, but yeah, it was just like we were still having chances at that point in time. Wish we could have finished the game, but boys had to stay on.
There's a chance, I haven't actually got it in the clips here, but there's a chance where Maury received it back to goal. He passed it off to Frankie, and then he just sort of didn't get close to goal. Just generally with Pwns with numbers forward, you guys trying to get the third to just really seal it off. Was that the goal, to still keep pushing on the counter? Or because, I mean, you had two men forward, and Pwns had everyone forward for them, so you were actually outnumbered in defence. So was the instruction to just keep going and attacking when you could?
As you know, Gaffer said on the grand final podcast, even if we were 2-0 up, we were going to keep coming at them. I mean, the game's not won till it's won, so we have to keep playing our football. You never know, you could score 4 or 5. They might score, you never know. So you just got to keep playing.
Well said, yeah.
I know a lot of people probably said that we parked the bus, but I don't think we know how to with our fullbacks. And even us two, we get a bit happy going forward with our runs. We're going to tell each other off sometimes. So yeah, there was no parking the bus there.
More than a couple of minutes now.
Oh! What was the need?
It's just something about that corner.
So Taylor 𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀 has just come on a couple of minutes earlier, again providing some context. 𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀 sort of beats him in a 50-50. Whether it was legal or not, I can't tell. Neither can I, watching it back now. And he gets hacked at pretty heinously. The closest person to it is Geordie, Marcus, Ryan, and Franklin. So
that's Bartram.
Oh, there you go. It is too. That's right, because Bartram gets all up in Sammy's face. So, look, talk to me about that moment. I know we've spoken about the good officiating there. That's a moment where I would have been okay with a red card, I think. But the game kept under wraps pretty well. Everyone kept their heads really great, which is great because Bartram was involved and was able to sort things out, it seemed. But when you saw that happen, what were you expecting the colour of the card to be?
To be honest, don't mean to offend anyone, but that's a red card every day of the week in my book. There was an argument going on the sideline, and I said to the fourth official, I said, to me, that's no different to just punching someone in the head. For me, it's vicious, and you're just kicking out at someone at that point. So, yeah.
Is it the fact that the ball's already gone well past where the incident took place, and it was just
Yeah.
What makes it like?
It's that, and there's just clearly no intent to play the ball. Like, your only intent there is to harm the player with the ball. So
Yeah.
We can move on. That's fine.
No, with that too. Yeah, I just think it was as Jaden said, it's a red card. Like, there was no intent to even like go for the ball. It was all intent to just hurt 𝙬𝙬 because he won the ball off him, and he was a bit upset.
Yeah.
Emotions are quite high in that moment. It definitely did seem like that. I think this might be it.
Jordy.
This is the best. Mate, he deserves it.
So Victor Leppi, who's had a crazy game, he scores a goal, he gives away a couple of fouls. He's always a guy who gets amongst it. Geordie there doing the best antagonising work possible. Were you having a laugh at the back?
Me and Jaden were not having a laugh probably about 30 seconds earlier, because myself, Glenn and Jaden, probably Jake, the whole back line are screaming at Geordie. We got what?
Liam and Geordie are both up there, both fullbacks.
Both our fullbacks are up there taking the corner, and we're just like, let's sit, maybe defend this last minute. And we were screaming at Geordie to come back, and he was like, you know what, boys, I got this. And there was probably a smile on all of our faces when we saw him get smashed. But yeah, that's Geordie. He loves that moment. So yeah.
I mean, there was 3 minutes added on. There was a foul given there, so I mean, 6 of those taken away. 30 seconds are taken away by that foul. Did anybody, like, I know the fans are right in that shot, so it's really, really good. Sorry for cutting it off, but was there any did that make you feel like you had them on the ropes crossing in that moment?
Well, to be honest, as Dutch said, I was panicking in that moment because you can't actually see it, but on halfway there's myself and Jake and 4 Pwns attackers, and we were screaming at them to get back, and Geordie turned to us and said, "Don't worry, boys."
I think Jules is as well. We're sitting there counting, and we're like, "Hang on, what are the 2 fullbacks doing up there?"
So he was fully aware, but that's Geordie Henry for you, I guess.
He is brilliant. Couple of free kicks he had as well. I think he had one. He obviously scored against Tigers to put you guys through to a minor championship, battle. Is he the resident free kick taker now?
No, he'll probably tell you he is, but no. It's probably always called him in each
The one goal was a deflection.
Yeah, he won't tell you
Let
that.
that be known.
So what I will do is I'll sort of talk off the cuff here as we do look to wrap this up. It's been a really good chat, I do think. There's a moment where, like, the game finishes, everyone's sort of hugging. Both of your 2 misses come on the pitch, and it's quite wholesome. It's a really good moment. So just run me through when the final whistle goes, Dutch. I'll start with you. Like, the camera does pan to Icon for the whole time because the guy scored 2 goals, but I'll try and just let the footage play out here. What are you feeling in that moment? It must have been pretty good.
It's a lot of relief, and probably from the chat that I had with you at the start of the season, just playing a full season for once. Like, it's been 5 years since I could just stick it all together without an injury. So just to play a full season across both squads and then get the chocolates at the end of it. We've all been working so hard to get to this moment. So yeah, and we partied on through the night.
Eth, for you to come back halfway through the season, took you a couple of minutes to score your return goal, but you did it against Mario, and then you scored 2 in the final. Thank you. What was the feeling would have been different for you? Because I got a feeling there would have been a sense of maybe not guilt, but kind of guilt for leaving in the middle of the season, even though you had a good time, I'm sure. But you came back and you had your impact. So what was it like for you when the final whistle went?
No, it was the raw emotions, really. Like, I'll say it again on the podcast, I don't lose grand finals, and like you can, as the camera pans to me, you can see I take off my jumper and I'm just yelling at like everyone. Like, it means the most to like the boys. Like, when I went away, wasn't there, and they still put on performances, which like I kept updated with. Like every stop, I was checking how they were going, and yeah, just like I'm happy that I could come back and contribute to winning the grand final.
I spoke last week on the podcast about you probably being one of, if not, sort of the most underrated players going around, because I think your work has been so consistent for so long, Jada, now that you almost don't get talked about enough, because every week it's minimum 7 or 8 out of 10. So for you to be now, you have a lot of rapport in the Doonside community, your whole family does, but I think a lot of it for you is not just about being loyal, but also having, you know, a legacy with trophies next to your first name, let alone your last name. So, what does it feel like for you to be, you know, the next 𝙬𝙬𝙀? I know it sounds really selfish, but I think it does mean a lot. What's it like to be the next 𝙬𝙬𝙀 to carry on this supreme legacy of just success?
Nah, to be honest, I think it's good to be able to share it with Dad, and obviously, you know, our name's been around the club for a long time and a long time to come as well, because I don't have any plans of leaving. So, it just means a lot to carry on that legacy for the family, and also with these boys, because they're now my family as well. So,
how cute! And Jake, to wrap it up, obviously you've had another big season again. Just I think Doonside's back line has just been so consistent for a number of years now, and there's no signs of slowing down. When the full-time whistle went, I still don't really know how to sort of gauge your emotions when it comes to this thing. You just seem like such a laid-back kind of guy, but you know, was it just as sweet as 22?
I think it was even better. Like 22, it was my first year with all the boys, and it all just went so quickly, and I didn't really think we had it in us then. And then this one just we worked so hard all year to get back to these finals. Like, we missed out last year. We were so gutted, and I dropped to my knees right at the last whistle there, and I'm pretty sure Dudgy come up, picked me up. We had a big cuddle. That's our third final win as well, back at 𝙬𝙬𝙀. So it was really emotional, to be honest. Like, it was just so good, and it was just big cuddles all night with the boys, pretty much. It was good.
Jayden, for you, off the back of last year, you know, there's every chance that if you guys were fit last year, this could have been 3 in a row that we're talking about. And you know, I'll be sitting here in the BDSFA role, and probably people would be sick of me talking about you guys. But 2 from the last 3 is really fantastic. You know, how do you maintain this? Like, you're so close as again, like last year. What's the motivation to keep on going?
Just on last year, I think that was a big motivator for this year too, because I think the whole squad felt like we had unfinished business because of our injuries last year. We did think we could win it last year, and we thought we were probably better than the year before, and that's no disrespect to the team that did win it. We just thought we played better football. But in terms of maintaining it now, we're a young squad still. We're really young. I mean, I'm the oldest at the moment at 27, and then you got obviously Maury, who's 34. But
The honest.
but you know, these boys here, they're only 23 years old, 24, 25, so we've got a lot of years ahead of us if everyone sticks together, and as far as I'm aware, no one's leaving anytime soon, so we're happy to keep going on with it.
Let's just rattle off some names from last year as well. So one of the Dominici boys was out, was Ryan, wasn't it?
Kyle was out.
Kyle was out.
Yeah.
Was obviously Tony went off in the game against Eastern Creek, which was the last game of the season, concussion.
That Eastern Creek game was just a horror. I think Liam went off after 15 minutes because he had a bee sting from training on the Thursday before, and he found out he was allergic to it. So his knee was the size of his head, and he played for about 15 minutes and couldn't run. So we had big Joshy Atkins come on after playing 90 minutes in Resi's. And then Tony got knocked out shortly after that. We had no Blake Maybury. We played Eastern Creek 4 times last year, and he didn't play against them once. So how's the luck there? But obviously it was just a disappointing end to the season last year.
I think we've wrapped this up in a really nice way. Good to hear a bit of sort of raw and real emotion on the podcast for the first time in a while. Usually only happens when we talk about sour things like injuries or people that get affected in that sort of way. We're not going to do those stories anymore. So it's good to hear some raw emotion from some guys, and even though it might be club football, it's also good to hear that people take it seriously enough that, it might actually affect how happy they are on the sidelines and off the field. But when it does go right on the field, this is the impact that it has. And like again, as I always say to your audience, the people here that help make this podcast so good for you guys are people that are keen to play their sport and talk about it on a random, 8:13 p.m. night on a Tuesday for no reason and no reward other than just the chance to do it. So once again, guys, post-season podcast, thank you so much for being involved. It's been a real pleasure to hear all of your opinions and your comments on things and have a good laugh. And good luck heading into next pre-season.
Thank you.
Can I just say before we head off, on behalf of everyone in the competition, thanks to you again, Mark, for this year and years prior. Obviously, it means a lot to us, and I'm sure it means a lot to everyone else that we get the coverage that we do. So, thanks, mate.
That's a pleasure, mate. And let's cue that outro music. Done. Really good.